Welcome, guys. Happy New Year.
Thank you very much.
Andrew, welcome back. Chris, for the first time this year. Again, CRS is going to be enormously busy.
Very busy, yeah. Very busy program ahead of us for this year. We've got Formula Renault with the 4 cars in the British Championship and 3 cars in GP3 and then 2 cars in LMS, we hope, and 2 cars in GD Open.
How do you keep track of all that?
I don't.
A lot of good
does.
people, yeah.
Yeah, no, lots of good people. Lots of very, very good people around us.
It's a very ambitious, relatively young team, and just going places very quickly.
Yeah, we'd like. I mean, that was always on the agenda when when the team was constructed. We always knew that we had a very clear kind of business plan in terms of what we wanted to do long term. And we're well within that plan. We'd like to think that I think by the end of next year, or probably by the end of this year, going into 2011, there'll be another single-seater program to announce. With the idea being, in an ideal world, that we'll have a progressive step going from basically Renaults all the way through to Formula One. And certainly in the GTs, sports cars, and saloon cars, it's exactly the same thing. In an ideal world, we would have probably a GD3 program, GD2 program. Right now, we're a bit iffy about GD1, but there's enough in those 2 areas that will keep us busy. And then we've also looked at other alternative programs that, whether it be in national competition in the UK or through Europe.
Sports car racing is quite complicated, even for people who think they understand it. There's GT1, 2, 3, 4.
Keep going. I think
5,
there's more. I'm not sure.
9, yeah.
Could be.
Le Mans Series, American Le Mans Series, Le Mans. It's complicated, isn't it?
I don't know. You know what? Look, it's no more complicated than single-seaters. I mean, now in single-seaters, there's Renault, there's BMW, there's European competition, there's F2, there's F3, there's F1, there's GP2, GP10. I mean, it is all of motorsport, unfortunately, because there's so many people aspiring now and moving through it, and more people are putting either single make championships together or doing whatever. It is complicated. Sports cars doesn't help itself because you've got, even if you just look here, a classic example is 3 different cars, and sometimes, in effect, they can all be on circuit at the same time. And that, I think, is a somewhat confusing message. But generally speaking, I think that sports cars is gone through a bit of a renaissance in the last few years. People are noticing them again. There's a lot of manufacturers embracing sports cars for the first time in many years, and that's making a big difference.
Andrew, as a driver and as a part team owner, doesn't this all spread the money a bit too thinly when there's so much choice?
Well, yeah, I think it does, and it's difficult right now. There's not a lot of money around, but I think that it's very difficult to control all of that. Certain manufacturers want to create championships. Manufacturers maybe want to support GT2 or GT3 or whatever they choose to support. It's difficult really to control that. But at the end of the day, the championships that don't have cars on the grid won't survive. So the championships are out there. They are doing reasonably well, and I think as the world hopefully recovers a little bit, the grids will get busier again.
Would it be better to have fewer, better supported championships from the off? Let's just say,
my opinion, yes. I think that, I think inevitably what's happened is over the last 20 years of motorsport is that Formula One's become literally the black hole of all the money in motorsport. And because of that, all of the other championships are vying for the crumbs off the table. The downside of that has been that people, when you think of, the people in this room, they know every aspect of motorsport because they're true fans, they're passionate about it. But, that's not what makes manufacturers turn up. It's the average guy in the street that they know that BMW's racing or something's racing, and that makes a difference to them. The problem with so much dilution within this sport is it's hard for any of the manufacturers or championships to get an identity. To, however, artificially manufacture them and say, we're going to restrict X amount of championships in GTs, I don't think is the answer either. I think that what you're going to find is, as Andrew already said, is that certain championships will survive in the long term because they're followed and they're well promoted and they're well marketed, and the manufacturers get good value for money, and so do the fans and so do the drivers. As soon as that stops, the championship will just go away. And there is danger that there are probably some high-level and high-profile championships that may not be here in 2 years.
On a personal level, has the world's sort of economic slowdown affected your core business, your sales empire, that's manifested itself in your race team?
You know what? Unfortunately, touch wood, it's actually had the complete opposite effect. We've actually grown considerably. Our business, just by its sheer design, tends to do very, very well during recessionary periods. We've been going 23 years, and the last 2 recessions that we encountered, we had exactly the same thing. So we've probably had this year growth of probably 20% compounded the last 2 years in a row globally, and we're growing faster than ever before.
Wow,
so that's helped.
That's impressive, yeah. You're both driving, of course, as well as trying to run the team. Which programs are you going to be doing, and who are you sharing with? And
well, I'm going to be sharing with Tim Mullen in GD Open, and then we also have a second car running there, Andrew in LMS with Tim Mullen. So Tim will be driving with Andrew and I. And then we'll see after that. I mean, there's clearly some other discussions going on in the background about Andrew driving again in another program, but it's a bit too early to say.
I had dinner and a pint with Tim last night, and he was saying how well you've come on as a driver, relatively late starter.
I pay him to say that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And he said there's a real sort of CRS loyalty. The buck stops with you, and there's a good kind of, you've got longevity and continuity in that team.
Yeah, I mean, look, Cobra's business has always been very much based on loyalty, and it's my nature. That's how I am as a person. I stick with people. I expect them to stick with me, and I am blindingly loyal in that regard. And I think I'm always been very good at spotting people that are kind of that way inclined to begin with anyway. So, you're right. Tim's with us been with us. It's me actually. Tim's been with us 7 years. Yeah, it's my phone going off. Peter, or sorry,
don't write that down.
Yeah,
love.
sorry, Lindsay. Tim's been with me now 7 years. Andrew now going on 4 years. I think, if I had it my way, nothing would change. They're both very talented people. I bring a certain skill or a certain set of strengths to the relationship, and they bring other strengths and skills, and it works very, very well. But Lindsay included. That we've been together for a long time, and I have no reason to want to change that. They're good people, and they do a great job.
You and Lindsay are together. I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
It's only just been made official, so yeah, no, we're not really.
Classic. Andrew, what about you? It's going to be busy driving and managing.
Yeah, it is. It's but
which is harder? Would be my next point.
I think that the driving becomes the harder element when you're involved in the team so heavily. I think that the managing element of the team has become easier. We've restructured the team. Mark Busfield, who was on stage yesterday, has now joined the team from RML Chevrolet World Touring Car team, and that's been a godsend for me really, because we've had it was very, very busy. Last year was very difficult to drive and to do the team stuff. We had 26 staff then, and 26 people, and trying to manage all those people is
Mark Busfield's ears are burning.
Yeah. So, but that makes the driving hard, because with the driving you're there, and you're so much a part of the team on a day-to-day basis, and then trying to detach yourself from that and get in the car, enjoy it, and drive is not easy.
Quick word about GP3, a brand new championship, clean slate, starting from scratch. Nobody's going to go in there with a ton of data and mileage and knowledge. That's where you need to kind of make hay, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. We again on the restructuring of the team, we've employed Chris Gorn, who's a very well-respected engineer. He's been working in GP2 for a long time, and he's the sort of guy that we needed to get into something like GP3, get the car sorted out, and see how we go. But I mean, with that, everybody's in the same position. You can't test any more than anyone else. You've only got 8 days in the year, 8 races. So I think we have the right people. I think the structure of the team is very, very good and only getting better. So, moving forward, I think we'll be strong in all areas, and, let's hope it's a good season all round.
Good stuff. We wish you well. We'll be following it closely in Autosport as ever. Thanks for talking to us. Andrew Kirkaldy and Chris Niarchos of CRS.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, chaps.